Yo, what's up, y'all? We just recently finished What If Gohan was like Future Trunks, and as mentioned at the end of the video, I hinted at the next What If series being based off another forgotten Saiyan from the Saiyan saga. Who was the Saiyan, you might ask? Well, it's none other than the forgotten brother of Goku, Raditz. Now, as the title of the video says, Raditz will survive his fight against Goku and Piccolo on Earth, and will be turned into an android by Dr. Gero. How does he survive? Well, we'll get into that in this new What If series. Welcome to What If Raditz survived and was turned into an android? Let's jump in and start from the same saga. We start this What If off right as Goku and Piccolo confront Raditz in an attempt to rescue Gohan, just like they did in canon. The events of the fight still go just like they do in canon up until Goku grabs Raditz's tail for the first time, with him still managing to manipulate Goku into letting go of his tail. After insulting Goku for being an idiot, he keeps in mind of how his tail is still a glaring weakness that the two of them almost exploited, ending his life. Fast forwarding a bit more, we end up with Gohan exploding out of the space pod. He reads his power level on the scouter, and instead of being too shocked to defend himself, he actually braces for the impact of Gohan's headbutt, reducing the damage he's taken by a little bit. Of course, he's still stunned a bit from the headbutt, leading to Goku slipping behind him and putting him in the full Nelson, with Piccolo finally unleashing his special beam cannons, piercing through his stomach, fatally injuring him and Goku. Krillin, Roshi, and Bulma arrive just like they do in canon, witnessing Goku finally passing on to the afterlife. Raditz still manages to say that the other Saiyans will arrive on Earth and will be much stronger than he is by a long shot before seemingly dying. Piccolo still decides to kidnap Gohan, saying he's going with him for the time being, before flying off, leaving everyone there speechless. Roshi and Krillin bring Goku's body onto the ship, with Bulma snagging the scouter from Raditz before they take off, signifying the start of the training arc for the Z Fighters. Before we move on, we cut to right after Roshi, Bulma, and Krillin left. More specifically, cutting over to Raditz slowly fading in and out of consciousness. Raditz isn't dead just yet, mainly because he wasn't as damaged as he was taking the special beam cannon from Gohan, meaning he was able to take the attack much better than he did in canon. His life is still fading pretty fast, so if someone doesn't give him any care right now, he'll just die. But fortunately, there is someone who's been watching from the sidelines ever since he showed up. Hearing footsteps nearby, Raditz lifts his head, getting a glimpse of an old man and a red-headed woman in lab coat before he blacks out. With Raditz being found by Dr. Gero, he's taken back to Gero's lab, being saved in the process and given similar augmentations to Android 17 and 18, transforming him to a Saiyan Android hybrid over the next couple years before he's put into a stasis chamber. Gero plans to use Raditz against all the fighters on Earth when the time arises. So he attempts to program into him obedience like he did with 17 and 18, with him not knowing that it's physically impossible for him to rewrite their wills with his own until later. Over the next few years, all the events after his so-called death still happened with no changes to the main story. Vegeta and Nappa arrive on Earth, leading to most of the Z Fighters being wiped out. With Piccolo dead, they all head to Namek, with Goku following short after, leading to their fight with Frieza and Goku unlocking Super Saiyan, and every Namekian being revived and transported to Earth with the usage of Earth's and Namek's Dragon Balls. Sometime later, Frieza and King Cole arrive on Earth, leading to Gero's drones gathering their data, adding it to their database, increasing their strength and lethality immensely. Trunks still appears in the timeline, taking off Frieza and King Cole, giving Goku the heart virus medication and information on the android attack in East City. For the next 3 years, the Z Fighters train in preparation for the eventual arrivals of the androids, but little do they know, things are about to get crazy really fast. Weeks before Gero makes his move, he puts finishing touches on all the androids, having Android 17, 18, and Raditz as last resorts if he and 19 cannot succeed in eliminating all the Z Fighters. Fast forwarding a few weeks, we see Goku fighting Android 19 as the heart virus has started to rear its ugly head, causing 19 to quickly start to overpower him. Before any more damage can be done by 19, Vegeta finally shows up, revealing that he's obtained Super Saiyan for himself, showing it off by dominating the android before destroying him with a Big Bang attack. Just like in canon, Gero decides it's time to get at him, fleeing whenever he got the chance and racing back to his lab to unleash the next step of his plan. With some difficulty, Gero actually managed to escape and make it back to his lab, as he releases 17 and 18 first, before being destroyed by them. Instead of releasing 16 like 17 and 18 did in canon, they released Raditz instead. He has a Red Ribbon Army symbol on his chest, and he's actually called 16 by Gero in this timeline. With all the fighters that witnessing his release, there's a lot of confusions on their faces, especially from Piccolo, Gohan, Vegeta, Trunks, and Krillin. Raditz looks down at his hands, then he puts his hand over his stomach with a special beam cannon hit. He looks at 17 and 18, thanking them for releasing him from that pod, before looking up at the Z Fighters with a smirk growing on his face. Vegeta laughs first, saying, Raditz has disgraced the Saiyans once again, even becoming one of those clankers by that weirdo Dr. Gero. Piccolo and Krillin are both left speechless since they thought he died, even saying they saw him die before. Raditz locks eyes with Piccolo first, before teleporting in front of him, shoving his arm straight through his chest, saying, that's payback from before, pulling his arm out, dropping him out of the sky. He then looks over at Vegeta, saying he's had this coming for a long time. That's when Vegeta starts to brag about him becoming the Saiyan of legend, saying he's finally ascended to become the legendary Super Saiyan, and is currently the strongest Saiyan to ever exist, with Raditz not giving a singular shit about anything coming out of his mouth. He blitzes Vegeta, catching him off guard, elbowing him in the jaw before he can even finish his sentence, making the rest of the Z Fighters jump in. With very minimal effort from Raditz, they're all taken down. He doesn't even kill Vegeta, as the humiliation of him losing should be more than enough to humble his impossibly high ego. 18 still kisses Krillin on the cheek before they ask Raditz if he wants to go with them to kill Goku, which he of course does, but he says he'll fly there himself. Krillin flies over to all the fallen fighters, giving them senzu beans, healing them back up to full and explaining to them where the androids and Raditz are headed to currently. Vegeta is of course pissed that he got beaten up so easily before he could even finish his sentence, by the runt Raditz no less. As he's about to blast off the chase after them, Trunks tries to stop him, just like he did in Canon, with him getting gut checked for stepping in his way. The rest of the Z Fighters group up as Piccolo decides he knows what his next step is, leaving to go fuse with Kami, as the others head to Kame House and Capsule Corp for different reasons. Piccolo arrives at Kami's lookout, and just like Canon, they fuse, and Piccolo goes to discover Imperfect Cell absorbing people. Piccolo and Cell have their brief encounter, with Cell spilling the bees on him wanting to absorb the androids and who he is, being created by Dr. Gero in a different timeline. Trunks, Vegeta, and Krillin all meet up back up with Piccolo, with him explaining just what happened with Cell, eventually leading to Piccolo and 17 scrapping just like they did in Canon. At this point, Goku has been cured of the heart virus and has taken Vegeta, Trunks, and Gohan to the lookout to train in a time chamber, with Vegeta and Trunks both wanting to go in first. With Piccolo and 17 fighting, this causes a lot of attention to be brought to them, leading to both Cell and Raditz arriving nearby. Cell jumps in just like he does in Canon, but Raditz watches from the sidelines with disgust on his face, with Cell ended up beating Piccolo pretty quickly and absorbing 17. He looks around for 18, ready to absorb her as well, but he catches Raditz looking at him with disgust on his face from the sidelines. At first, Cell is confused, saying Raditz should be dead, then noticing that there's a red ribbon army symbol on his chest, but it really doesn't matter to him, saying he'll just deal with him first to limit distractions. He flies over to Raditz, throwing a punch, catching him off guard, with him just barely able to block it in time, still being sent flying. Raditz catches himself pretty quickly, before landing a pretty clean kick on Semi-Perfect Cell, actually doing some decent damage to him. They trade back and forth for some more, with Cell slowly starting to tire out from regenerating body parts so many times. With Raditz having unlimited energy engine, he's not losing any strength anytime soon. He soon comes to realize that this is a losing battle for him, so he just uses the solar flare dipping, wanting to find Android 18 to finally reach perfection that he's come so far for. Raditz regains his vision and is kinda annoyed that Cell just ran away like a coward, saying he was just finally able to test out some of his power against someone for the first time. Raditz looks around a bit until he sees Goku picking up Piccolo off the ground as he makes eye contact with him before teleporting back to Kami's lookout. At this time, Vegeta and Trunks both emerge from the room of spirit and time, with Trunks ready to end this android threat once and for all, and Vegeta's ready to get his revenge on Raditz. They both take off, with Trunks running into Cell looking for 18, and Vegeta runs into Raditz for the second time, ready for his rematch. Vegeta powers up even more into Super Saiyan Grade 2, saying he's going to enjoy tearing him apart for what he's done to his pride, charging at him. With their strength actually being pretty close, Vegeta can't afford to try to humiliate him here, since Raditz doesn't seem to lose stamina at the same rate as he does, if any at all. Realizing this, Vegeta decides it's all or nothing, powering up to Grade 3, pummeling Raditz for a while, until he starts to gas out. Within a short amount of time he's tapped into grade 3, he's managed to do enough damage to where they're about even in his base Super Saiyan state. They continue to trade damage back and forth, with Vegeta eventually being knocked back into his base state and then unconscious, proving that Raditz is still the superior one here. After defeating Vegeta once again, Raditz gets ready to kill Vegeta here, but at the last moment he decides against it, thinking that there really isn't a need for him to do so, and potentially in the future, he could probably fight him again like this. He dusts himself off, flying off, thinking about what to do next. He needs to find Kakarot to get his revenge as well, but he doesn't have any ideas where he could even be. That's when he notices it. A feeling of overwhelming pressure coming from a single direction. He wonders how that's even possible, but that's when he realizes he can feel someone's energy. That's right. After fighting so many people who had the ability, he slowly picked it up over time without even realizing it. He flies over towards the massive amounts of energy and is shocked seeing it Cell again. Backing up a bit to when Trunks ran into Cell, he ends up fighting him for a while, but he's currently stronger than he was when he fought against Raditz, because he's been drinking people to regain his energy and even grew more from it. With how much stronger that semi-perfect Cell has gotten, Trunks is not actually completely dominating him here, so he's able to evade some of his attacks and slip away a few times. Eventually, Cell spots what he's looking for before turning around, hitting Trunks with a solar flare, blinding him, giving him the perfect opportunity to absorb Android 18 and obtain perfection. Trunks is pissed that he didn't get to stop Cell right away, so he just transforms into grade 3, trying to fight off Cell, not knowing that the form has glaring flaws until it's too late. Cell, pitying Trunks, doesn't even mercy kill him for his failure, saying he'll give him and the rest of the world 10 days to get stronger for his up-and-coming tournament before flying off. Trunks returns to Kami's lookout with Vegeta, waiting for Goku and Gohan to emerge from the time chamber, giving him information on what Cell is up to now. Back to Raditz, he finally runs into Cell again, but instead of fighting him here, Cell offers him to join his up-and-coming tournament, with Raditz accepting it for the hell of it. Cell says he has 10 days to prepare, so he better train because, as it stands now, he stands no chance against him before flying away. With that, we end this part off here, going into the Cell games. What do you guys think about this part? Remember to leave your thoughts in the comments below, and remember to always like and subscribe for more Dragon Ball what ifs. Catch y'all next time. Peace.